The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Boise, Idaho, on your new apparatus, job number 29828. Please utilize this job number when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your vehicle. Starting in the bumper at the very face, there are two air horns on the right and left side. There is a mechanical siren located on the passenger side, and on the driver's side there is an electronic siren. Moving up from this location onto the top of the bumper, there are two attachment points closed. To the left-hand side, there is a mechanical bell. Moving up on the outer section of the headlight cluster, there is a left and right turn signal. The outer light is your low beam headlight. The inner light is the high beam headlight. Moving up from that location is a warning lights. Mounted in the very center is a grab handle. Moving up from that on the brow are running lights across the top. There are some individualized pictures of each of the light clusters associated with what we just spoke with. Referring to that headlight cluster on the outer edge, there is also, which was not pictured, an additional running light. There is also a pull string, which is located in the passenger side for the bell. There are opposite side warning lights on the very top, just above the brow. This is the location of your serial number for your apparatus on the A-pillar on the inside. You have a flat and a convex mirror. Located underneath the bucket are running lights. Just above that location, there are three additional warning lights. This is the location of your opticom. Moving up onto the very top, there are two latches, both interior and exterior, for opening of the doors. On the driver's side, notice a automatic deluge. On the passenger side, there is a manual deluge. There is a 2.5, which is reduced down to an 1.5 discharge, with an additional 2.5-inch discharge near that. Moving to the very top, there is a floodlight LED. There are also, pointing downward, two LED floodlights. There are also two attachment points at the bottom of the basket, in addition with 4 rubber safety stoppers. There is also a discharge port located underneath, as in a sprinkler. There are also warning lights on the left-hand side and also on the right-hand side. Looking at the left-hand side of your apparatus, this is the auto eject for your shore line. There's a mid-cab warning light. Moving up from that at the very top of the body, this is a floodlight.
Looking at the driver's side step, there's an air inlet on the right. In the upper left-hand corner, this is a step light. There are also 2 additional floodlights on the side of the apparatus. This is the driver's side stabilizer. There are 2 on right and left-hand side folding wheel chocks. These are 3 shelves. These shelves are pull-out shelves, and they also pull down. So when you activate that shelf, it will move in the downward position. What's highlighted here is the generator control panel with the start-stop button. It is illuminated when it is in the run position. Down below that, this is going to be the reel wind for your 200-foot 20-amp cord reel. This is the breaker box for the generator labeled G1. This is your Harrison generator on-off switch, which is illuminated. And beneath that, once again, is the 120 VAC 20-amp 200-foot cord reel rewind. To open the shelves or pull the shelves out, simply move the lever toward the center of each other. Once the lever has been moved, pull the shelf out. The shelf will pull out and move into a downward position. This is your junction box for your 20-amp cord reel. The orange ball is to prevent the cord from rolling all the way into the reel. Once again, opening and closing instructions. The cable is for when the shelf is completely pulled out. To release, to move the shelf back into its position, simply pull the cable, which releases the mechanism, which will allow you to push the shelf back into its original stored location. This is the compartment door just above the driver's side stabilizer. On the apparatus, there are plenty of danger and warning labels. Please make note of those labels and check the owner's manual in regards to those. As we look at the undersection of the cab, this is where you're going to be storing your stabilizer pads. The front left compartment is your DEF fill location. As we move further back, there is an additional compartment which houses your SCBA bottle storage. And as we move further back to the rear wheels, this is the location for your diesel fuel. This is the through compartment in the very top section of your apparatus. To activate or pull this shelf out, simply depress the side tab on the right. This is the compartment which holds your TNT rescue tools. There is a plug on the left-hand side, 30 amp. This is the on-off switch for your TNT device. Under the very bottom section near the rear tire, this is going to be your rear stabilizer pad. Moving up to the step area, this is going to be the level indicator. Just above that, there is a step light. And just above that, there is a lever. Once that lever has been activated, this will allow the steps to be pulled outward and move to the downward position. This is the bottom section of your stabilizer pad. Looking in the side compartment, this is the reels for your TNT device. This is attached to the door, allows for the cords to be managed as they move out of the door space area. These are the rewind location. Left for left-hand side and the right is for the right-hand side. And just above that, there is a breaker. On the right-hand side of this compartment is the hydraulic power unit for unit number 1. This is the activation switch. Below that location, there are 2 pull-out shelves. To pull the bottom shelf out, simply depress the lever, pull the shelf. To pull the ladder down from its stored position, simply lift the bar. Once the bar has been lifted, pull the ladder towards you, allows the ladder to move to the open position. Moving to the rear of the apparatus, located on the very bottom of the reverse, moving up from that, turn, brake, and emergency lights. This is going to be on the rear of the apparatus. This is the aerial stabilizer location that moves the stabilizers in and out. At the very bottom, you have your aerial intake. To the right-hand side of that, there is a compartment which you can open, and I think I have some slides here shortly of that location, which is the aerial drain. To access ladders, simply pull down the flap, pull the ladders out. This is that image I was referring to, the aerial drain. Open this up when retracting the ladder, and you can open the valve inside. This is on the pedestal. This is a warning audible sound speaker system. This is an access point for inside the pedestal, an area work light. As you look in the inside of this console, at the very top, this is the emergency stop button. There's a significant amount of controls here that I would orientate yourself prior to use. This is your speaker system, which allows you to talk to the person on the end of the ladder. To remove this cover at the base of the ladder, simply remove the 2 quarter-turn latches. This will gain you access to your overrides. There is an aerial up and down, right and left, and rotate. These are the 3 indicator knobs that allows that. To move those knobs or to activate the system, you'll also use the override, which is the switch located near the red box. General view of the ladder from the pedestal looking forward. In addition, on the ladder, you have a roof ladder, which has 2 locations to detach. This is a 16-foot roof. You also have additional lights, forward-facing and rear-facing. As we move through these locations, do take note of the no step in the cab area. Also looking downward, this is the section that holds the 200-foot electrical cord. Here is the sign indicating that this is a no step area. As you look downward also, this is the rear section of the 2 floodlights on the right and left-hand side. This is the access point to get into that reel. There are 2 tool attachments for long tool. As we look at the front of the bucket, we'll get a little bit more in depth than that. There are on the right and left-hand side storage compartments. Looking forward, there are 2 brass fittings. Those are the 2 brass fittings for your air hoses. This is an additional 20 amp plug. These are the 2 brass air fittings for your SCBA hose. Moving up from that location, there is an attachment point for your harness on the left-hand side and on the right, and also directly behind. Forward-facing, this is the speaker system on the right-hand side, and you can see just the top portion of your floodlight, we're looking at the automatic nozzle, and on the right-hand side, this is your manual nozzle. This is the Pierce command zone, same command zone that's at the pedestal and also inside the cab. These are the controls for the aerial. Once again, your emergency stop, mushroom, both at the tip and at the pedestal. This is the attachment point that I was referring to earlier. There are 4 of those located within the bucket. An additional 20 amp plug. This is looking once again from the pedestal toward the front of the ladder. This is your compressed air. This is for your generator. This is the hydraulic fill location. We're now on the passenger side. This is the passenger side. When we look in the passenger side compartment, there is space for adjustable shelving. As we move forward of that, this is going to be the passenger side stabilizer pad. This is the compartment that houses the cord reels. In the upper left-hand corner, this is the activation switch for those. In addition, you have an additional hose or cord management system here that allows it to be pulled outward of the door. And as we look in the upper left-hand corner of this compartment, you'll see the on-off switch for those two. This is for hydraulic power unit 2. Moving across, there's also a shelf, same thing, depress and pull. Looking in the passenger side of your apparatus, we'll look into those compartments a little bit more detailed too. This is a bottle storage location, and to the front of that location there is an emergency light, side warning light, and just forward of that is once again 3 bottle storage compartment. Moving further forward on the very front section of the tandem axle, an additional bottle storage location. This is the location of your TNT system for number 2. There's also a 30 amp plug for that. Once again, this is to depress the lever to pull the shelf out. Once the shelf has been pulled out, it gains access to the equipment. This is going to be your passenger side flood in the rear. This is the pass-through compartment just adjacent to that. In your tall compartment near the front stabilizer, you have 2 adjustable shelves in addition with a pull-out shelf on the bottom. This is the location under the truck front set of tires for your automatic chains. This is going to be your front stabilizer pad. Moving to the section just closest to the cab and the large compartment that's tall, you have once again at the very bottom your cab tilt. You have your additional reel rewind switch. Same thing with the levers on the other side. Move the lever toward one another, which allows the shelf to be unlocked. Pull the shelf toward you and the shelf will move out and also drop down. This is a second 20 amp cord. The shelves operate the exact same way as the opposite side also. This is your cab lift, lower and raise, activate location. Please make sure things are secure prior to tilting the cab. Take note of the warning labels on the door. This is going to be just inside the driver's side. This is your auto charger. As you look forward inside, down by the foot area, you'll find the warning and caution labels in addition with the Pierce placard. On the Pierce placard itself, this is the location where you would find the date of manufacture. Moving to the right of that, an additional location for the job number. This is the location also where you would find the VIN number, which is the same number that's located on the A-side pillar. And just beneath that, this is the fluid capacities and gross vehicle weight rating. As we look into the cab, this is the on-off quarter-turn red battery switch. Moving to the right-hand side, there is a cluster of diagnostic ports. Moving to the section just above that, this is at left-hand side, ignition and start. Moving to the opposite side, this is your rear axle differential lock and unlock location. This is an image once again of those diagnostic ports. Moving up from that onto the steering, just above the steering console, this houses your oil, water, transmission, voltage regulator, hour meter, speedometer, standard gauges, but it also houses the front and rear air, DEF, and fuel level. Moving to the right-hand side of the operator, this is your parking system maxi brake. To the inside of that on the black round knob is the front wheel lock. This is to be utilized while the engine is in operation. This is a generalized view of this panel. We'll get more in depth here in the next set of slides. Looking on the left-hand side, your headlights. This is your panel for dimming. You have a wiper blade. You have the intermittent wiperless. You also have DP in regen, and then you have the inhibit regen. Moving down to the next section, this is your engine brake on-off. This is the section where you'd find high, medium, and low for your engine brake. The high idle engage, the OK idle engage indicator. You have a fuel primer, and this is the location to activate your tire chains. Moving further down, you have your off-road traction. In addition, with your generator PTO, the indicator for the PTO is engaged. Load manager indicator, and auto lube fault. Once again, this is your parking system brake and your front wheel lock. This is the Allison transmission pad. Moving just to the right of that is the flat and convex mirror controls for both right and left-hand side. Generalized view of this panel just in front of the driver. We have the aerial master and the aerial master PTO. Both of those have to be engaged to operate the aerial. You have your climate control. Generalized view of the overhead cab section. This is going to be your height of the apparatus without any adjustments done to this physically. It's 12 feet, 1.7 inches, 1.75 inches. The length is 47 feet, 5 1/4. This is your gross vehicle weight rating. It's 76,800. And at the very bottom was your job number. Looking over the operator's head, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, rear warning, and upper rear warning lights. Moving further to the right-hand side of this front panel, this is going to be your high beam flash, the location to activate your Opticom, driver and passenger side scene, rear scene, and your red switch, which is your siren brake. Also, make note in the very center of that, this is going to be your Federal Signal Corporation for your PA system and electronic siren. There is also a light located in the center of the cab. This light is to be activated when there is a compartment door open, and do not move the apparatus when this is lit. This is your seatbelt indicator. As we move across the two wireless FireComm units, with on the right-hand side an additional FireComm unit. This is your battery charging for shore power. As we move to the rear compartment of your apparatus, you'll notice a variety of caution and warning labels here. Located in that center compartment in between the two seats is an access point for you to check fluid levels. This is the rear seat, which is a fold-down seat. You have two SCBA mounted seats, overhead push white, push red lights, your fire comm system headsets, inside the center compartment roll-up, there are two adjustable shelves, in addition with a 12-volt access point. This is the center compartment between the two seats for the access for your oil and transmission check. This is going to be on the passenger side. A compartment pulls down. Inside that location is going to be an LED light. As you move forward, you'll see this is the cord that operates your manual bell. There is also significant warning labels that you should familiarize yourself before operating the vehicle. Also located in this area is the air horn and mechanical siren foot pedals. And to the right-hand side, this is your windshield wiper fluid location. Moving up on the cab onto the engine compartment cowling, there are two 12-volt access points. Looking overhead of the passenger seat, there is push on-off red and white lights. This is the three 12-volt power locations, two, and then in addition to the vehicle data recorder. Looking once again from the passenger side over to the driver's side, in the very front you have a reading light. Overhead you have your fire comm system, which is your master, and your wireless fire comm system. There are two pull-down visors. There is a center reading or map light. Moving up from that location mounted under the visor, this is your wireless Firecom base system. Moving to the right-hand side, this is your generator PTO to engage the generator, and also a siren brake. Congratulations, Boise, Idaho, on your new apparatus, job number 29828. If you have any questions regarding this apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire salesman. Thank you.